Good morning, everyone. It is a early morning rise for us. We are here because Alberto out west, out Pacific. I'm not sure if it's Vancouver, right, Alberto?
Yeah, just a
Uh,
couple hours away from Van, 6
yeah,
a.m. here.
we are. The man has kids, not like me, and I always accommodate those who have kids and have to do those kind of heavy duties that I still haven't experienced yet. And I got my man Roma Fan Mass here, and we're gonna break down Italy, Northern Ireland for tomorrow's matchup. I'll go straight right into it. I'm not concerned about tomorrow's game, but I know there are glaring issues that others are concerned about. Number nine, the midfield, the back end, and we're gonna get Mass and Alberto's take. And I'll shoot it off with the most glaring issues, the injuries. And there are, we have a report here from the Score Mobile where you have Davide Calabria, who had to be sent home. Bastoni was sent home. Zappacosta got the call up now because of these injuries. Another injury that there was another injury I seen. Kalini was another one who was ruled out. You got Cheeto, he's not healthy. The injuries are all there, and people are not don't want to make this as an excuse. I do believe injuries do make an impact, and Alberto said the best thing offline before we start, and I think it's a good segue to start is the loss of Lorenzo Pellegrini. Sorry, Spinazzola. Sorry,
Mazzola.
the loss of Spinazzola has really impacted this lineup and the way they attack and the way they move the ball. And I don't want to take any points away from Alberto because he addressed it. And I think that it's better that he says it first because it's a good area to start at because a lot of people are not bringing this up about how big of a loss Spinazzola really is. And we've actually forgot about him because we managed to win the Euros without him. And I think that kind of overrided that separation. People are thinking, okay, we did it without Spinazzola, so we're fine now. But that the reality is that we're back into World Cup. We haven't achieved anything, and now the issues are glaring. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Alberto.
yeah. It's I don't think it could be understated how big a loss that was in how Mancini's Azzurri face sides. What we used to, and it affects everybody. That's the thing. Well, we all of a sudden these same players that won the Euros now all of a sudden because of some struggles and failure to qualify up to this point are all of a sudden no good. That's not the case. You know, you got to look at the whole picture. For me, Spinazzola, what he did, he achieved the byline so easily with ease. He was that 1v1 threat. What it did, create space for Insigne. When Insigne gets space, that creates space for Immobile. What it also did, when he could take the guys 1v1, we had the trailing runs open. Enter your midfielders getting opportunities. Barella, another one. All of a sudden, if you start looking at these guys and you start seeing like struggles in creation, because even though the numbers statistically, if you looked at the numbers in our last game, it would seem okay. They generated some chances. Our best chances were very opportunistic, like fortunate bounces. That one that fell to Barella, point blank and whatnot. It wasn't from straight creation. So that loss is significant. This is not a knock on Emerson because he's done a good job. Okay. So he's done a good job in filling in, but it's different. So Mancini cannot approach it the same way. So if you're going to have a number nine and you still want Insignia to be a main creator, all of a sudden Insignia's space is taken away and Emerson isn't putting on the pressure. Right now, the guys aren't able to capitalize on the spaces that are being created. When Chiesa gets the ball, for instance, against North Ireland, there was three focusing in on him. We didn't commit enough off of that to get involved. He was trying to take these guys on, which is the wrong way to approach it. If he's got three on him, there's space somewhere, and we just couldn't utilize and find it. And our mids weren't finding the space, and it's very strange. Credit to Switzerland, who kind of nullified Jorginho, and Locatelli ended up occupying the space where Jorginho should have been and kind of became that, and they just nullified Jorginho. So we were down to one supporting mid almost, but we still didn't take advantage. What we should have done is approach with possibly another fullback. And for me, you don't play that game with a 9 in the second half. Like, you go straight to a false 9 to start to create space, make it much more harder and difficult with a guy that's got better technical ability than Belotti, because that was killing us. But the loss of Spinazzola and Mancini trying to still play it the same manner, for me, it's creating some issues there. I think a false 9 would probably help, because Emerson is not that 1v1 threat that creates all these nightmares for defenses. Switzerland played a very straight up game. They were flat at the back. We just couldn't get her done. So yeah, I think that loss is big, and right now it's affecting Insigne, and it's affecting our 9 role for sure.
Mass?
Yeah, no, but we saw it even in the Euros when Spinazzola went down. We weren't
Yeah.
as dominant as we were while he was there. So his loss can't go understated. He does create that space because he is very good taking on players one-on-one. So it frees up Insigne, it frees up some players to kind of get into space, because you don't need to worry about him coughing up the ball, because he has that ability to take on players and get back with his speed. Now, barring will he be the same when he gets back from injury again, another non-contact injury, time will tell. I'm excited to see him in a Roma jersey, obviously, because it could only mean good for the Azzurri coming with the World Cup coming up if he starts getting back to his usual self. But we'll only find that out in like December. But for now, moving on against Northern Ireland, something's got to change, because we're looking a little flat. A lot of people are saying fatigue. I can sort of agree to the fact that they've been playing a lot of soccer over the course of a calendar year, but there's no excuse. We've got depth, sort of. I mean, we got some guys who are knocked up as well, so they didn't have Pellegrini, Zaniolo come, Immobile out, as much as people have been shitting on Immobile. He does a lot of good things off the ball that a lot of other strikers we have up front don't do. So you can't knock Immobile for not scoring, because what he does off the ball can't go understated. And it's usually the people who are just the casual fans that kind of are like, oh, like he doesn't score, but they don't understand what we kind of see as avid fans of the sport. We see what he can do off the ball, because there's more than just being on the ball in Calcio. You have to be able to go into space and kind of draw defenders away as a striker, and Immobile does that really well. We have what, a +2 goal differential going into this game over Switzerland?
+2.
Yeah, so it's comfortable. But who's Switzerland playing? Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
Yeah, but they have a good low block. I mean, they've kind of kept us to a goal. So
Bulgaria's pretty banged up going
Are
into
they?
that one. Yeah, and Switzerland absolutely owned them the first time, but Bulgaria managed to find one. So Switzerland won 3-1. Previously whatnot. It's going to be interesting, man. Switzerland will definitely,
They're home, man.
yeah, Switzerland will take the game to Bulgaria. There's no doubt. It's just a matter of, is Bulgaria going to hold on enough to stop a thrash, and will they find one? The difference is that now it's all on the line. So it changes when you have to do it. Can Switzerland do it? For sure. But when they have to do it, things change a bit, because the pressure's up a bit. It'll be interesting. And ultimately, it's in the Azzurri's hands.
Exactly.
Got to get it done. That's the one positive about it. It's in our hands.
We're still in the driver's seat to an extent, so it's not really that bad. Everyone made it seem worse than it was after that Switzerland game.
Yeah, the frustrating part is that we should have had the job done by now.
Yeah.
We had this Switzerland one especially, and we get to the PK, and number one, the first thing I'm going to say is everybody that's shitting on Jorginho needs to stop, because it's nonsense. It's a PK. It happens. For me, the only thing that needs to change, he's not top of the pecking order on PKs, and he can't be for 3 straight misses for the Azzurri, and that's fine. But as far as him, his spot in the midfield, his place with the team, insulting him.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, everybody was just, it was crazy, the stuff I was reading about Jorginho. The guy had a fantastic year. He's massive for us and has been massive for us. It was just unfortunate. But I did say when he picked up the ball, I wouldn't have let him take that shot, just because of the recent form, 2 straight misses going into it, and The fact that Sommer read him like a book the last time they both faced each other. We had good takers at the time. You had Berardi on the pitch. You had Bonucci. I probably just I wouldn't have put him in that spot. I think there's a time and place for Jorginho to start taking them again. But a kick that sends you to the World Cup, I don't know if you're in that form. It's the right decision. But nonetheless, here we are. We got to look to North Ireland.
Yeah.
Right? So.
No, absolutely. And with Jorginho, I saw a lot of people saying, like you said, and I find that it's a lot of Twitter clickbait where I'm not going to call it names. I think it's not fair because there's notable people, and it's like you get 20 retweets and you get all this 190 likes because it's the obvious. Yeah, Jorginho shouldn't take penalties. But guys, at the end of the day, like I was talking to a friend of mine from work, and he said Ciro Immobile should take the penalties when he's playing, and maybe a striker instinct is the best way. I'll be honest, Ciro does take penalties really well with Lazio, and maybe that can help him boost his confidence in scoring goals. But at the same time, Ciro could be a bad person to put in as well because of his form with Italy. But when we look at the saves that we missed, like the penalty that we missed, it's not just we're missing penalties against Bulgaria. We're missing penalties against good goalkeepers. Like Sommer is a great goalie. You got to look at that too. Like when I look at Lazio and Ciro Immobile missing penalties, he's not missing penalty versus Spezia. He's missing penalty versus a guy like Szczesny, where he's been denied by him before. He's missing a penalty versus Gigi Donnarumma, where probably he's missed before. So you got to look at the matchup too. And I'd be more concerned if our players were missing penalties against scrubs, no offense.
Yeah.
But when you're being one-on-one versus a good goalkeeper, such as in Switzerland, you got to give the goalkeeper a little bit of credit too, because he's doing his job and he's making Jorginho think more than he has to as well.
And that was the big thing why I wouldn't have had him shoot, is because he was going to think way too much about it. He changed his run-up, which was the right thing, because that other one was too easy to predict. If a goalie was disciplined enough to just wait to the last second, after that hop step, you're not going to generate a ton of power. So there's a good chance that the keeper's going to get to, and that's exactly what Sommer did. He just waited. And if we remember against England too, Pickford did the same thing. And Jorginho hit the post and then it bounced back off Pickford, but he waited to the last second. So when all of a sudden you got a taker that's got to change it up and change his style, is that the right decision? And the bottom line is Jorginho didn't even hit target, which is the bare minimum on a PK.
Yeah.
I can handle a goalie guessing right and stopping it. You got to hit target. You absolutely have to hit target. So yeah, it's a tough one. And even if you put anybody else in, of course, they have the opportunity to miss. Sommer's a great goalie, but that's why I don't think we need to overthink things, overlook things, or just attack Jorginho. He's just not top of the list anymore. That's all.
I agree with you. I would go with Bonucci if you had to. I think you're right though, just because when you watch him play, when he takes a penalty, he goes power, and power for me always number one. But
power and on target. When's the last time he's missed?
That's the thing. When he's probably one of three players I know, or two, like very few, that can power a shot with such good accuracy.
Yeah.
And I know Ciro does it with power, but when Ciro goes power, sometimes he misses. Bonucci doesn't miss. Like
that's the thing with Insigne too, because Insigne wasn't on the pitch at that time, I believe.
I think he would have missed too.
But I've seen him miss the net completely, and it's like it's different, right? Yeah, Bonucci's a good kick taker. Nobody could take that away from him. He's even got a stutter step one where then he waits it out and he'll just pop it up high where the keeper can't reach. So he's got a couple run-ups and they're both pretty effective. Berardi is good too. He's straight up. He just runs at it, picks his spot, and makes sure he hits it. If the goalie guesses right,
why didn't they let Berardi take it? I now that you bring that up, he was
Politics.
On the field.
Jorginho's the
really
guy.
It's politics, man. I'm sorry. It's politics. It's shit we don't know. That we
Descent
don't
is
hear.
bringing up Bernardeschi. Bernardeschi's a good show, man. I have
But he
I
wasn't
have
on the
more faith
pitch.
in Bernardeschi at this point.
Yeah,
than
he wasn't on the
Jorginho.
pitch,
He
but
wasn't on the pitch though.
No,
else
no, he
probably
wasn't. But
would've.
if he's available in the
Yeah,
future, we have
for
a lot
sure.
of good kick takers. Like, there's
We
guys
do.
that can take them.
But I want to transition this, and I want to defend Alberto, actually, my boy here, and I want to agree with him on a take on Twitter that's kind of gone viral. And it's Nicolo Barella, and I will be the first to admit he did not look good on Friday, and it's not because he's playing bad or he's a bad player or he's just whatever. And it goes for a lot of players on Italy. I think a lot of people have to understand these players that are starting right now are marquee players on their respective teams. They don't get subbed off. And Simone Inzaghi is the first guy I can go to bat and say this guy does not like rotating. He plays his starting 11 and he'll kill them to the ground for some reason, even when he has a plan B on the bench. Nicolo Barella hasn't rested the season. If anybody saw when he came off the game, the way he was sitting on the bench and the way he was lying back, the guy looks dead, okay? He missed a beautiful chance. I believe it was in the second half where he could have scored. And Sommer freaking denied him. Now,
Sommer came up with a massive save on that one.
massive. And you telling me that a healthy
Someone else would have buried it? No.
exactly. He was mentally not 100%. And I think it's crept into a lot of players. Acerbi on Lazio plays every game. Sure, he looks beat and tired. The guy's 34 or 33, and you think he's gonna run like Bastoni at 20? Like, come on. You got Lorenzo Insigne, who plays every game on Napoli. And guess what? He's not 100% fit. Guys have to remember that. He missed a game in the Europa League recently. He's not fit, and he's still playing. You got up front Belotti. He's not healthy. He just came back from an injury and hasn't played all season. Then you got to go to Chiesa. I think Chiesa continued to play the game injured. If anybody saw in the first half, he was laboring. And I think he was contemplating if he was going to come off or not. Because as soon as he got nicked on the back of his shin or whatever it was, 3 yellow shirts came onto the sideline and they started warming up. I thought that at that moment, there was going to be a substitution. Maybe Bernardeschi comes in and kind of changes it up and Chiesa comes off. And then in the midfield, you got Verratti, who's not playing. Well, guess what, guys? Why is he hurt? Because he plays every game for PSG. The Locatelli. Locatelli didn't look good either on Friday. But again, who plays all the games for Juventus recently? Locatelli. He's the main guy on their team. Maybe it's Roberto Mancini is right to a certain degree where he's saying, let the young guys play too. Like Lazio. Danilo Cataldi has played this year. He's earned a call-up. Maybe he should get a chance. Maybe not starting because Jorginho's your starter in the Regista role. Maybe he comes off in the bench late. Maybe he can provide something. My point is we have a lot of guys who play a lot of minutes who are not 100%. And I fear for everyone's teams because I believe we are playing with banged up players on Monday. Guys who are not 100% fit, and they're risking them. And they're saying, F your teams. F Inter, F Lazio. We don't care if Cherby gets hurt Monday. We don't care if Barella gets hurt Monday. We don't care if Chiesa gets hurt Monday. Forget about Roma. Forget about Roma.
I don't think. Do we have any players outside of Cristante on the team? No.
That's why I said forget about Roma.
Everyone left.
But I hate how people say that injuries shouldn't be an excuse. These guys are professionals. You got to play good. And buddy, when you're going from Serie A playing 1,000 minutes, and you're transitioning to Italy, and you got to play another 500 minutes, it wears you down. And I hate when people say, "Well, look at nurses, look at doctors. They work hard." But they're not running up the stairs 20 times a day they're not pounding their body. Like I get doctors and all these guys, they do a job, and I don't want to take that away. Don't want to be biased or anything against them. I understand. I'll always agree that they should get paid more, and that's a whole different topic. That's all politicals. But at the end of the day, these guys run. They tear their bodies down, and it's got to them now. Look at Davide Calabria. He came on for 10 minutes, and the guy is out now. What does that tell you how much he played for his team? And just in 10 minutes, the guy got hurt. Like,
So the question then would be: is it on Mancini then? Because it's easy to for them to say, well, to the club teams, sacrifice your league position, your matches, whatever, so that these guys can come to the Nazionale fit. But if they're not, should Mancini like? I
hmm,
look at this team. He's got options. He's got a lot of options, more
does.
than managers before him. And I don't know. Like it's interesting because Mancini got a lot of praise, rightfully so, in not um, dealing with the perception anymore of certain players and the name. It started becoming about the form and everything. And we had a good chat about this on the All You've Cast team, and we were just talking about like, is he getting comfortable now? Is he getting complacent? Is he starting to go to the well too often and getting away from what made them so successful, which was next man up, next
Mhm.
man up? And yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. If guys are trying to go through injured, not all the guys are. Like, what's the fear in starting Pessina over Barella? For me, I have zero fear there. To be 100% honest with you guys, I would have no fear in Pessina starting a match over Barella. Belotti, why couldn't we do a false nine? Why couldn't Scamacca get a go and at least cause havoc? The dude's a load, and he's actually phenomenal technically, which is downplayed as far as Scamacca goes. I don't know. I think sometimes, even Mancini now is starting to overthink things maybe and get a bit in his head. And now going into North Ireland, the options are slim, to be honest. We start going through this list, you're probably going to see pretty damn close to the exact same lineup you just saw against Switzerland. Maybe one or two possible changes. But I don't know. Yeah, these guys are banged up and whatnot. Ultimately, that comes down to the manager and the training staff to decide if it's good enough to go for the start of the matches. And if he's getting that wrong, yeah, I would have to be pretty pissed off because he's got good options in my opinion. Still, there's a couple positions where I'd say he's pretty tight. You're almost no options, like maybe across the back line.
Yeah.
But in the midfield, up top, he's got good options. He's got good options. And if guys just can't give you what you need out of there, don't be scared. You can't play scared. You got to go out there and get the job done. Next man up got us the Euros, for Christ's sake. Don't be scared now in qualifiers. I don't know.
What do you think, Mass?
I think Mancini is kind of in his head right now. I noticed it in the Euros. We lost Spinazzola the Belgium game, right?
Rossi,
I believe it was Belgium. Yeah, because he was
Belgium,
out
yeah,
Spain and England, right?
yeah.
yeah, exactly. The minute that Spain took us to penalties, and then you saw it. He was overthinking things, the changes, and you see it now in the qualifiers as well. There's certain things that were way out of character from early on in that Euro tournament from Mancini. Um, I don't know why they don't take the next man up approach like they were doing all tournaments. We have like Alberto said, we do have the options, especially out in the middle. I don't see why Pessina played very well against Wales.
Mhm.
I don't know why he doesn't get a bit more time. Give some of your starters a break. Worst case, you sub them on in like the 60th or the 70th minute if we need something. But start the kids. Tonali looked great when he came on. Give him a shot at starting maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
They got to rotate the squad. The legs look tired. The creativity's not there. These guys are burnt. You saw
Yeah.
it. We're not generating any chances.
Yeah.
Barella, I think, couldn't string three passes together. That's how mentally tired he looked at one point.
He had
I think like his first
39.
three touches, he was just like he was giving them
I
away.
I
He had
fear Mancini.
39 touches and dispossessed 15 times.
What?
Yeah,
Like people that are arguing me with how bad his performance was
Oh my
need
God!
to stop, because even that goal, what that goal would have done if he scored that one, is band-aid an awful performance
Yeah.
individually. So
it was just overshadowed how bad he was.
this is not a Juve Inter thing. Barella was awful. And again, part of losing Spinazzola affects that left side. The other part is Verratti. Verratti is so criminally underrated. He is, in my opinion, our best midfielder. without a doubt.
Mhm.
He goes through games, he controls games, he pulls strings, he's creative, and nobody even notices almost. Verratti is massive. What he also does is he pulls defensive lines forward. He starts to move guys around so that your Immobile, your Insigne, even Spinazzola, they all benefited off one another. All of a sudden, you lose Spinazzola, it changes. You lose Spina and Verratti, that's tough. That's tough sledding. So we can't just attack our forwards and go at that systematically. Mancini has some work to do when you're missing some key cogs. I think he's got to alternate. For me, false nine is going to help because it's just going to give you another outlet of creativity, another outlet of technical ability. Because I can't even tell you how we wanted to play the 9 spot against Switzerland. It made no sense to me.
I'm not going to criticize Mancini for starting Belotti as a number 9 in the game, because at the end of the day, these are difficult decisions, and I've never played football in my life. So it's very easy to criticize Mancini and say, hey, you shouldn't have put Jorginho. Hey, you shouldn't have started Belotti. But in hindsight, when you do have a number 9 on your bench, the most Italian perspective, like tell an Italian, tell your grandfather to change his ways of how he maybe does wine, let's say. They probably are the sugo and how they make sugo in a certain way.
We're stubborn to a
Yeah.
fault, Italians. That's the
You
problem.
gotta
We're
remember
stubborn
that
to a fault.
Mancini is stuck to his ways, and what worked for him 6 months ago or 3 months ago is he's gonna go by that now. And here's another thing: you don't want to break up the chemistry in such in a pivotal game. You don't want to put 7 new bodies out there as well. That
But
I know it counters it now, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you put 3 new strikers, say like a new striker, you put 2 new wingers, you put a whole new midfield. It's like, oh god.
The flip side to that, though, Jerry, is that we
what
have
if it
played false
works
nine.
out?
No, I'm just saying in general, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, but we have always done false 9, but have we ever normally start the game with a false 9? And that's what I like about Mancini in a way, is that with Ventura, it was a dog show. Okay, he started free. He brought on De Rossi for a number 9. We needed a freaking goal. He brings De Rossi on, and who did he leave on the bench?
We all saw that video. He was yelling at him too, right?
At
We saw how
6:30
that
in the
ended.
morning, my time. I don't know if Ventura is a name I need to.
But you got it. No, but you have to hear this because that's the reality. If tomorrow was managed by Ventura, it would be a
we don't qualify.
Okay,
we don't qualify
exactly. With Mancini, even if he doesn't start with the false 9, which I prefer, and I'll say why. You want a plan B late in the game. I always think that the false 9 works better as the game progresses, because you can alter the game to your favor. You can shift it around. You can put a different option up front. You can shift Insigne to the false 9. You can put Berardi on the wing with Chiesa wide, and it gives a different shape to your team. Whereas if you start with the false 9, I think that Belotti as a backup can be a little bit worse late in the game. I don't know. Like, I think you want to start with the number 9 and you go with what you have naturally. And if it doesn't work, you got to. I think like on Friday we brought on Berardi at the hour mark, and I think that's good because 30 minutes gives you a lot of time to change the game. It's not like you're doing it with 5 minutes left in the game. He did it at the 57th or 58th minute, and he changed it up. And look at how the game kind of changed in the last half hour, where the complexity of the game, we started to get more chances in the latter part.
Well, the team showed more urgency too. They were showing a lot more urgency early on versus like towards the end of the game. Like we conceded the goal, maybe 10, 15 minutes later, we started to press and we managed to come level. So they're showing urgency sooner, which is great. And having Berardi on for the last 30 minutes, we've seen, like, as much as people have kind of ragged on Berardi during the Euros, that guy's work rate is unquestionable. He just runs and he goes at net and he goes after that ball. So for 30 minutes, when you're going up against a tired Switzerland team, maybe two, having a guy like a Berardi can cause some problems. As much as he's maybe not as technical as the rest of the guys, just his speed, his pressing, getting to the ball can cause issues, and you get turnovers, creates chances. Maybe, who knows? So I'll give him that.
I also think that Mancini managed the time of their players too. He didn't overuse Berardi, so he still has legs on Monday. Who else came off late? Tonali, another player where we didn't even discuss yet. If anything, he should
should get a
start on
start.
Sunday. He's the guy who should start on Sunday.
Monday.
Now, I'm sorry, Monday. But
Yeah.
at the same time, does Tonali make a bigger impact off the bench? Like, I think that Berardi off the bench is more useful. I think he's an impactful player who can make a difference. There's certain players who can strive in certain roles. And the last thing I'll say is that had Chino Immobile been playing on Monday, I would say start Berardi, because Berardi is the only guy up front that can get the most out of Immobile in a front three. I'm sorry. And I'll say, no disrespect to Chiesa. Chiesa is more of a striker to me in a way, where he wants to get to the net. He wants to get that shot. He wants to get that goal. Whereas Berardi is really thinking pass as well. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a more instinct from Berardi where he's trying to get Immobile more involved into the play. He's looking for that pass to get in behind the defender. Immobile's goals have come when Berardi's on the pitch, not when Chiesa's on the pitch. I think Chiesa kind of is more goal mentality, striker mentality. I know he's not a number 9, but he kind of acts like one. And I know Alberto will probably counter that, but I just see that when Insigne, Immobile, and Berardi play together, they just look. It looks like a different Immobile. Where, and I'll say, like, the last time Northern Ireland played Italy, Immobile scored and Berardi scored. And guess who played up front? Insigne, Immobile, and Berardi. And you know who didn't play that game? Believe it or not,
Chiesa.
Spinazzola.
Wait.
Against who? Sorry,
Northern Ireland. We won 2-0, and I'll tell you our starting lineup: Insigne, Immobile, Berardi up front, Verratti, Locatelli, and Pellegrini in the middle. Another player that we're missing, Pellegrini. Big impact. And then you got in the back Emerson, Chiellini, Bonucci, and Florenzi. We won with this lineup, guys.
Yeah.
And I'll say it, Berardi makes Immobile a different player. And it's no disrespect to Chiesa.
I think it's different. I think it's all different. There's a lot of things to factor in. Number one, too, like the Euros, these guys are all training together nonstop. They're together the entire time, right? It's easier. So all of a sudden, when you start factoring in club play, and if we want to just use Chiesa for an example, Chiesa has been slotted up as a second striker. He's been put out as an outside midfielder. He's been, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's all over the map. And I notice these things when he goes to play for the Azzurri, because, you know, if you look at one of Chiesa's goals nationally, he linked up with Immobile. He got the ball on the right flank and decided he's going to just turn on the jets and ran in centrally, found Immobile. Immobile just played a simple 1-2 for him, and Chiesa slots from just outside the area. The problem is that that's how Chiesa wants to always play.
Mm-hmm.
He always wants the ball to feet. And there was opportunities against Switzerland where he needed to be the one attacking the space and just making that run, taking guys away. But he's not playing that way anymore. When he's at Juve, he doesn't play that way. He plays ball to feet. He wants to take guys on 1v1s and whatnot. Berardi is, and this is probably going to piss a lot of people off. It's probably going to piss a lot of Juventini off. I'm being honest. Up here is sharper to know when it's time to make the runs into space and when it's time to play it at feet. Allegri, before everybody wants to roast me, Juventini especially, I'm telling you, Allegri has said the same things. It's knowing situationally that he needs to grow and develop. Berardi is discredited a lot of the time, but he's like a player you would hate to play against because he'll give you everything you need tactically as a manager. Like, you would love Berardi on your team. Everything you need tactically, not scared to mix it up defensively and do the dirty work, but he knows how to read the situations. And that's the one thing for me from Chiesa that he needs to be better at. We talked about it earlier against Switzerland. Identifying the fact that you have 3 guys in front of you and not just putting your head down and trying to beat them. Figure out, how do I get the ball to this guy, even if that other guy's not doing his part to get open or whatnot. How do I make the most of this? Because head down and just go doesn't cut it all the time, right? So it's situationally, Chiesa's got a lot of growing to do. In terms
He's
of
young though. It's
Hold
gonna
on.
Oh,
come.
yeah,
that's
for
what I
sure.
want to say.
Dude, the guy's a hell of a player. Let's
For
not
sure.
kid ourselves. He's massive. Does he have room to grow? For sure.
Of
he does.
course.
For sure he
He's
does.
24. Berardi's 27.
What our
Yeah.
best is against Northern Ireland, and this is something a lot of people have said, even Juventini. We're going to see a low block against Northern Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Chiesa does his damage in space. There's not going to be space there.
That's a good point.
There's not going to be space there. When you look at Chiesa, and he was running rampant against teams in Euros, who was it? The teams that played us wide open. The Belgiums, the Spains, the Englands too, for the most part. Like when it's a game where a team's not afraid to play you and coming at you, and he gets room, that's when he does his most damage. Do you think Northern Ireland's going to play the Azzurri that way?
No.
Not a chance. We're going to see a low block, and you're going to want guys that are technical. And this is, again, why I'm nervous about seeing this projected lineup and seeing Belotti's name there and whatnot, because I think, honestly, you have to look at 3 players that are all technical. The one thing about Bernardeschi, underrated, he attacks space. He makes great runs into space that just pull defenders out of everywhere. He could be a call and a shout for a false 9. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. A guy who's unfortunately not available that would have also been a good shout, Lorenzo Pellegrini as a false 9, would have been massive for the Azzurri. But I think Mancini can't be scared to go with these other guys, and I think he's going to have to figure it out, because we're going to see a low block. We're going to see a low block out of Northern Ireland. So you're going to want your best technical players out there, guys that can work the quick 1-2s and play with pace and speed. You put a clunky number 9 out there, I don't think it's going to be the best. The only way I see a 9 getting into this game is if it gets late, we want to chase some more goals, and you want to start throwing some crosses in there and getting a battering ram like Scamacca in there to cause some havoc and Belotti or whatnot, right? But I think the way the Northern Ireland's going to approach this game, you want those guys in there. I'd be fine with Berardi being up there. I would personally be fine with Chiesa too. If Insignia's false 9, that's the only way I'd probably get those out there. Otherwise, Bernardeschi as a false 9 potentially. He has options. He can do it, but against a low block, I don't see the point of a number 9, to be honest with you.
So would you not? You know what? Chiesa off the bench could probably be better suited too, with the amount of playing time he's been playing. Like I said earlier, maybe you change it
depending
up.
how the game goes, right? Yeah. If we
Chiesa's-
bag a couple or bag one, right, and it forces Northern Ireland wants to come out a bit more, sure, then he could feast, right?
You bring him off the bench and you change it like an alternating. I think Mancini's going to throw a curveball tomorrow, and I think we're going to be surprised with maybe 1 or 2 decisions he makes. I really do. At the end of the day, we don't see what goes on in training. I think that's another thing where we don't know how players are training. Maybe there's something he sees with Berardi that he sees off the bench. I don't know. Maybe he sees something in Belotti. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Belotti doesn't start Monday, only because he just came back from an injury, like I said earlier. He's probably the only guy on this team that has really not played a lot. Even on Torino, right before the break, he wasn't playing 90 minutes, and he struggled, okay? He was struggling with fitness because he still has to get back to point. I think, if anything, this benefits Torino that he's playing with Italy to get his fitness level back to where it was last season. If anything, it's like kind of it's really weird because it's like counterattack now, where the only person who really benefits is Belotti because he hasn't played a lot this year. So I like the Bernardeschi show. I think that he sucks for Juve, unfortunately, or not sucks. He just he underperforms a lot of the time. I think that's the right word.
He's
to
doing
say,
better under Allegri.
which is good to see
Allegri's
for him.
done okay with Bernardeschi, to be honest. The other managers haven't achieved anything close to what Allegri can get out of Bernardeschi for whatever reason. But Berna's had a bit of a resurgence since the Euros. Is he the guy everybody expected him to be? No, but he can be a very, very valuable asset for sure.
But he's the opposite of Immobile, where he does deliver for Italy. I'll give him that. Like
Yeah.
Bernardeschi does deliver for Italy, and maybe you go with Bernardeschi, who's proven to score timely goals in big games, and maybe you, like you said, you change it up there. I'm curious to hear from you guys now. Like, how do you see the starting lineup play out? The back end, I think we can all agree.
It's probably going to be the same.
I
don't really
can't
have
see
much
that changing.
Yeah, we don't have many options in the back right now, considering the health of players. So
Di
it
Lorenzo
pretty
on
much
the right.
stays.
What would be the other option outside that chair? Be Mancini?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He got called up.
should have. I would.
No, I don't know. I don't remember him seeing getting called up. I thought it was just
Let me
Pellegrini,
see.
Cristante, and
Mancini's there.
Mancini's there.
Got to be there. Let me see the lineup from the last game. Let me see. Where are you?
Let me see. Yeah, no, I
Everything I'm reading
lineup.
is his possible options. Bonucci's going to be a
Yeah,
lock,
Mancini's
and-
there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a Cherby or Mancini.
I
start Mancini.
I start Mancini just
Really,
because
eh?
I would.
He's not that bad.
I wouldn't.
Really, eh?
I'd be fine with that Cherby and Bonucci there. North Ireland doesn't really instill fear in the attack for me. Personally, I think they'll be okay.
And you got Pessina on the bench. You know what? This is what I would do.
Give
I
Pessina
do-
a start.
Pessina. I start Skamaka. I start Skamaka in the number 9 because he's a different type of 9 that we haven't seen in a long time. He doesn't just hold up. He'll get in behind the defense. He'll get into those spaces. He'll run around. Like I know that you said that they'll play a low block. I think maybe he's the type of player who could benefit in this situation where he can score from long range, short range. Maybe he gives us a different look to our offense that we've been lacking. Maybe he needs that chance. I'm not a professional who understands like these like technicalities and stuff like that. But maybe you bring in Skamaka and you give him a chance, fresh blood, like you were saying. Like that, I don't understand. I'm a firm believer. If you have a number 9, play the number 9. Like I don't like changing things up just to accommodate when you have 2 options on the bench. You got Skamaka, you got Belotti, 2 different players. Try Skamaka. Doesn't work, then you try a false 9 or whatever you want to do.
What about Raspadori? He's
That's what I
technically
meant.
gifted.
Sorry. I meant Raspadori. Sorry.
Because
My
Raspadori
apologies.
almost gives you a 9 and a false 9 because of how good he is technically and whatnot. And Raspadori maybe gets a start, and he's got more minutes than Skamaka. So that fear of this being a must win and must win comfortably match maybe is lessened by the fact that Raspadori's got more minutes than Skamaka. Eh?
No, I meant Raspadori. I looked at
No, it's all good.
I meant Raspadori, but yeah, give these guys a chance, man. Like, yeah, false 9. Everyone's screaming for false 9, but you have options. Go with it, man. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, we're gonna control
Raspadori would
possession.
almost play it as a false 9 though, too, right? So, and I'm not really too worried about going to a false 9 again because Mancini has done that quite a bit. And I think we have to look at this team and the changes that have happened too, losing certain guys and whatnot. And when we have gone to that false 9, it's changed games. Not only has it changed games, but it's also looked a little bit more fluid than it has with a 9, any of the given 9s that we've had up top. So I don't think, number one, it's a stretch for us. We're not necessarily trying something that's completely new to the players.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing something that might make the most sense because it's been our most fluid type of play, especially since the loss down the left flank with Spina. So I'm fine with a false 9. I'm fine with Raspadori starting. Skamaka, I like him. I don't know if I'd start him in a game where you need to win comfortably. And, I just don't know if maybe that's going to weigh too much on him, right? It could weigh on any of the guys, to be honest. tension builds, and you start to it makes it tough on all the guys.
I want to put out some stats from the last game we played them. So possession was 66% for Italy, and they had 34%. We had 12 shots. They had 8 shots. 5 on target for us, 3 on target for them. Now, this was the glaring issue because Italy was offside 5 times. And if you're offside 5 times, they didn't play a low block in Italy. So with Northern Ireland having nothing to play for really, why would they want to play a low block? Maybe they take the game to Italy and they try to beat them.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like
they're playing party poopers at this point. Might as well, right? What's stopping them? If they lose, then what? Okay, we don't qualify.
If they do that, massive advantage for the Azzurri.
Right?
Yeah, it's going to be a wide open game.
Oh, yeah.
And their goal differential is only -1. Wow. Like, that is shocking. Only 8 points and a goal differential of -1, eh? Like,
well, they haven't conceded at home.
Let's look at their scores.
Until tomorrow.
They won their last game 1-0. They won 1-3. They won 1-0. They lost 2-0 to Switzerland. They lost 2-1 to Bulgaria. Tied Switzerland 0-0. Beat Lithuania 4-1. Tied Bulgaria. Lost to Italy. Tied Romania in the Nations League. Austria lost 2-1. They've never been a team to get pounded, eh? So the last time they lost a big game was against Norway back in September of last year, 2020, 5-1. So looking at their recent scores, like they've either lost by a goal or won by a goal or tied. So if we're going to play on the recent trends, this is going to be a 1-goal game or a 2-goal game at max. This is not going to be a blowout tomorrow. I think that Northern Ireland, there are some good players in this team, which are really going to – and let's look at their lineup because I'm just curious to see – we're talking about Italy, and what do they have? I don't know who these guys are, but they don't
have that kid out of
Stephen Davis. They got Alistair McCann. I don't know who these guys are, to be honest. Corey Evans, but I guess
they don't have that kid from Manchester, or is he because I know there's Northern Ireland and Ireland. Is he from Ireland or Northern Ireland?
Who, Lavery?
No, McTominay.
Oh, McTominay is.
He's not slated to start though. If he is,
like, I'm not
gonna lie. I'm looking at their predicted lineup, their possible lineup, and I can tell you who the guys are.
Like,
yeah, but see, that's the thing. We can't go in with that. The team can't go in with that kind of attitude, and we can't have that kind of. They will never. Either.
No team goes like that. No,
you can't.
Well, no, it's just the fact I don't know who they are.
No, for sure.
It means it could go either way. I don't know what these guys offer, what they provide.
But I thought they had that kid from Manchester that everyone was talking about. I think he just might be from Ireland and not Northern Ireland. I might be off there.
But we have to be honest with ourselves too, though.
Yeah,
Italy is going to dominate the possession. There's only been one nation that's been able to withstand us and dominate our possession. And that's a whole different story, different ball game to talk about. But Italy's going to dominate possession. It has to be quality possession. It can't be like the possession against Switzerland where we're easily dispossessed and coughing it up left, right, and center. We can't have midfielders having half the dispossessions that they do touches. That won't work. So they have to control the game. They have to be tight at the back. Like we were too loose in allowing Switzerland the fast breaks. So we have to get back to what we do well, which was the press. That high press, put them under, swarm teams, win the ball back quicker. And for some reason, it's tempo. Tempo has changed with the Azzurri. They have to regain that and find that. We'll be fine against Northern Ireland. We're going to control possession. We're going to get our opportunities. We have to be clinical and we have to finish. We have to get the first goal. Absolutely have to. That's a must. And then from there, I really like what will happen with the Azzurri because it's either going to be sink or swim for Northern Ireland. What are you going to do? Stay back, down one or open up, and then that just makes it even easier for any of the guys you pick in that lineup. So I personally, it's in our hands. I'm not concerned about it. I see Italy going through tomorrow and being qualified.
That's another thing. Yeah, like we're all worried about what Switzerland's going to do tomorrow. I think we need to be more worried about what we do. That's the bottom line, man.
They need to take control of what we can take control of, and the rest we leave it to Bulgaria to maybe hold Switzerland to a goal or something. I don't know, but right now the major focus is focusing on getting the job done against Northern Ireland. We can't worry about what the Swiss and Bulgaria are doing, because then if if the team's going in with that kind of mentality, it's already a bad sign.
Exactly, and also, guys. Lastly, I'll end it with this, because we can be going on the same thing over and over. But I think the biggest takeaway is that if Italy does not clinch first, it's bad, because here's the thing: we got to go through a semis and we got to go through a finals to get to the World Cup now, and that's not good, because our players are already playing a lot and they can use the rest in between those breaks. You know what I mean? So I think that's the most important takeaway here, is that Italy has to advance, because if we go into a semis, I fear we are not going to advance.
So wait, hold on. How does that format work after?
The format for the runners-up is the top 10 group runners-up would be joined by the best 2 Nations League group winners. Okay, so they make up 12 teams. Those 12 teams will basically be drawn into 3 playoff paths consisting of 4 teams, and you basically play a semifinal and a final. The 3 teams that win those 2 games go into the World Cup.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I don't want. I don't want that, because knowing Italy's luck, we are going to shit the bed, and it's everything that you played for to get to where you are now in the World Cup qualifying goes down the drain, basically. Everything you achieved, everything you've done to get
the team's taken 10 steps forward since the last time we didn't qualify for a major tournament, and to win a Euro and then to not qualify for a World Cup, very problematic. I think Twitter would be in an absolute cultural Twitter would be in an absolute meltdown. Like everyone would be having a meltdown. It just
can't be an option. Yeah.
No.
And honestly, where do you guys stand percentage-wise on Italy qualifying tomorrow?
Oh, 90%.
Yeah. I say there's a 10% chance Switzerland bags enough against Bulgaria and that we don't get the job done. I think it's like 10% that doesn't happen. I'm confident in the guys.
I was 50% on Friday after they tied. Basically lost. I'll even say loss. I don't care, but felt like a loss. But then I woke up this morning and I said to myself, wait a second. I was looking at tweets and I saw Ventura last night. And this morning I'm like, wait a second. I think the biggest glaring thing is we're not being led by Ventura tomorrow. We're being led by Mancini, who will not be stubborn and will play players, even if he doesn't start them tomorrow. He'll bring them off the bench. He doesn't have a grudge against any player. He's not there to make himself feel better. You know what I mean? Like that's that. At the end of the day, if we don't like what he does with Plan A, he'll come with a Plan B. If we don't like Plan B, we'll have a Plan C. And I think that's where gives me more security, more like relaxation. Where
he figures it out. It'll be fine.
And if it doesn't work, guys, at the end of the day, if it doesn't happen, we go to a playoff, but it can't be, Mancini doesn't know what he's doing. Oh, he's garbage. Oh, he's the. But in the last year, since he's taken over Ventura, we can only say good things about him. No manager is perfect. No manager gets everything right, okay? There's flaws to every manager. Yeah, okay, he becomes a little bit too stale and he does the same things. But what manager changes things up and goes tomorrow morning and say, hey, guys, forget about the 4-3-3. We're going to go 3-5-2. We're going to go Chiesa up front with Insigne or whatever you want to call it. And we're going to put 5 midfielders in the middle. It doesn't. These guys are trained for years to learn a style, to implement a style. That's how they become a manager. They can't have 3 different styles. And then all of a sudden the player's like, oh, okay, this, oh, okay, that. Like they are triggered to train away. That's how they got successful. You go to Sorry, prime example. He is stuck to the 4-3-3 Sorry ball, quick ball movement, blah blah blah. And people are like, well, guess what? He's not going to change to having substitutions. And you know what? I'll be honest, he's one of the very few managers who I've seen this year has decided to change and give Cataldi a chance and say, hey, let's put this 27-year-old in the midfield. Like maybe it's a rare scene from a Sorry, but like Allegri, tell Allegri to change. Alberto will be the first to tell you he'll never change. He's stuck to the 4-4-2. He does it. But with Allegri, in certain key games, he will change it based on the opponent. And that's just the way it is. These guys are trained to adapt to a certain way because it takes weeks, months, years to implement your style for your team to adapt. You can't be changing formations all the time and expecting players to figure it out tomorrow. Like Alberto said, these guys don't have enough time to train together either. So you can't always be changing. You have to stay consistent to what you have been doing. When they come back to the nations team, they already know a little bit what is expected. You can't go every international break and something new. They'll be behind the eight ball all the time. And Alberto said another good point. The Euros, they had enough time together to instill to gain that continuity, that chemistry, where it's very rare for an international club, right? So
they had something else too that was big that they need to. This is an opportunity for Mancini to reignite in this team, and that was the sense of pride and the fight back after not qualifying for that World Cup and where he took them to the Euros and whatnot. It's very easily mentally to have a drop off when you've just won a major tournament. That Switzerland match, we were so lethargic in that first half, like especially the opening 20 minutes, right? Like just bad. That can happen. And you never saw that out of the Azzurri under Mancini. Like, and this is the thing that now we go into North Ireland. Okay. We're going to go there to their house. There you go. Everybody wants to see Italy fail. Build this up in these players. Again, it's like, we're taking it home. It's not coming home. It's coming to Rome. Same attitude, same mentality. Get these guys ready to go with the right attitude. There is nothing that should stop us from going into North Ireland and getting the job done. Get the mentality right, get the approach right, and I'm confident in the group of players Mancini has at his disposal to get the job done. Okay, so just get it going. But the biggest thing is, that fight's got to come back. He's got to reignite that fire. You get bloated after a big win like that, the Euros, and you could drop off a bit, and you start to see it a bit. They need to pick it back up again.
They got to have that us against the world mentality, like you said.
Yes.
That's what really drove them through the Euros. So
exactly, it was huge when everybody was, the talking point was the Azzurri not qualifying for the World Cup, and wow, we're a joke and all this, and he fueled them day in, day out, and they just came out and proved it, and he gave all the guys the opportunities. Don't be scared to do everything the exact same, and just keep reinstilling in all these players that everybody wants to see you fail, and you're going to prove them why they can't sleep on you guys ever, right? So I have full faith Mancini will get the guys going. I think we're going to come out hard right out of the gate. I can't see the Azzurri not getting the job done. Will it be enough is the question, because I don't see any doubts in Azzurri not getting the job done against North Ireland.
I want to shoot down this point right away. It's not that Romagnoli is better, this and that. He didn't play in the Derby. He's not fit. He basically sat out of that game. I think if he had been fit, he'd probably be starting a game between the two. That's not the case, so I'll shoot that down right now. It's not that Iturbi isn't up to the task or whatever it is. He's the only option at the moment to play center back, and we need to be reliant on him. And Iturbi is a veteran, and tomorrow could be a better matchup for him versus Northern Ireland, where, like Alberto said, less possession, and so maybe it benefits him. Who knows, man?
Sky Sport usually isn't accurate, but it's hard to see. Oh, I can't get it over there. But Insigne is false 9, Chiesa and Berardi on the wings, Tonali in the midfield with Jorginho and Barella.
There you go, Tonali. Like I was saying, man, give the guy a
defense
chance.
Completely the same. And
Yeah.
as far as Romagnoli goes,
I like him. I think he's having a good season. I really do.
He's having a good season, but for him and where he has been, that's not saying a lot because he's. I've always been rooting for Romagnoli and wanted him to come, and the reason is because the Azzurri need the follow up to Bonucci and Chiellini. Bastoni's. I think Bastoni's going to be a beast as he grows and develops. Whatnot, it's who's that second man going to be? Who's that second man in that partnership going to be? And right now, that door is wide open for somebody to take the reins. Romagnoli should be the guy grabbing the bull by the horns, but I don't know. Every time I watch him, I just don't see it in him. I don't. And he is having a good season this year, but I don't know.
I will say something about Cherby. With Lazio, he does. The problem with him is that he plays high up too much, and he's always exerting his body and trying to think. He thinks he's still 25, but Cherby is a consistent player. That's the difference. That he makes you think like he's slow and can't do it and all that, but at the end of the day, it's a guy who basically. Cherby can really fool you. He's good positionally. He's very sound. He's a leader. He's got the experience, like you were saying. Like, don't let his speed fool you for what he can actually do as in an overall game. He can make those key challenges. He can make those key blocks. I think that Switzerland was kind of a difficult matchup for him, considering the options he had. But Switzerland's no walk off either. But I want to answer one question for my buddy Jorge. And early in the show, I wanted to leave this to the end. Side note, Portugal versus Serbia to win today. I have incorporated that and adopted that Serbia is my new second team. Oh, Canada is my second team, but I'll put Serbia up there for one reason. Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, and I'm going to be rooting on my boy today. I hope he delivers because, when you're Italian, we want Portugal to lose. Let's just get it out there now, guys. Italy-Portugal rivalry is like Inter-Juventus or like the Rome Derby, okay? Where they hate each other. There's no Portugal fans gonna be like, oh, I want Italy to win on Monday. I want them to make the World Cup. Come on, man. No.
I got a Portuguese buddy. Cheers for the Azzurri.
Oh, he's okay then.
Yeah, but, he's actually pretty good. He's always supported the Azzurri. It's funny. I can't cheer on the Portuguese though.
I can't.
No.
No way. And I still remember when we won the World Cup in 2006. The Portuguese were going out celebrating because they came fourth place. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Celebrating. There's three brothers. They're very, very close family friends. I play football with all three of them, and half Portuguese, half Italian. You believe it? And I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me. I was like, you support both those national teams, and they're just like, they just hate each other. I go, it's hilarious to me, anyways. But Portugal or Serbia? Oh, who cares? That's my answer. Who cares?
I'm actually gonna watch the game today.
Let's go Serbia.
I always root for the underdogs too. I'm a big underdog guy. And plus, I want to see Ronaldo not make the World Cup. Get out of here. It's about time. I want to see what everybody has to say when Ronaldo doesn't make the World Cup. What do all the Ronaldo Twitter fans say? Oh, it's okay, Ronaldo. Yeah, they all criticize Messi because he can't do it for Argentina. But what about when Ronaldo doesn't make the World Cup? Is it all like, you know what I mean?
About Messi at PSG, the whole PSG thing too. Donnarumma,
it's terrible.
Not even starting. Like it's just a mess.
It's awful. It's a team that everybody wishes to have. Like it's a manager's dream to have, but Pochettino
Is
just
it
not.
really though?
Too many mouths to feed, man.
Yeah,
that might
it's
be
too
it.
much
I
ball
don't
to
know.
go around.
Way too many mouths to feed, and it doesn't even. I don't know.
Messi should never have gone there, and I love how people say, "Oh, Barcelona should have kept Messi." Guess what, guys? On a free transfer, sorry, even if he stayed for free, they couldn't sign him. Even if it was free, because they're over the cap, but they couldn't sign him for some reason, like because of the money and everything. There was just no way they can sign him. That's how bad it was. Like, I do believe that.
I think he gets a massive, massive tax. Doesn't he get a massive tax break over there compared to Spain?
Probably.
Yeah, we
That
spoke
has to
about
be
it
it.
on a podcast. I think I can't remember what the first year was like, or I think we were in a group chat somewhere. Someone mentioned it that there's like a massive tax break.
Yeah.
Would love to
the
see him
first
going
year.
Inter. Not because I'm not saying Inter fan bullshit. You guys can all kiss my ass. I'm not an Inter fan. I shat on them after the Lazio Inter game. I made sure that Inter fans can hate me forever in a football level. Um, I personally believe Messi going to Inter would have been the perfect suit for him. Like, I think he would have done really good there. That was the team that really needed him, and he needed Inter. It was just like a relationship that both would have helped each other. The problem is Inter is broken. It's just can't happen. Freaking Inter. But yeah, I guess any other parting words, guys, before we go? Anything that comes to your mind for tomorrow's game, or any Juventus things that Roma things that you guys are nervous about going into this game, or like this Chiesa playing kind of concern you, the way he was laboring in the last game, or you think he's fully fit?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. Everybody that's worried about the Azzurri, don't be. I think we'll be okay. Relax, rest easy. Watch the game tomorrow. Have faith. Boys will get it done. Chiesa, I saw some interesting stuff about Chiesa. People worried about his play and even pinning it to Allegri, saying Allegri is ruining Chiesa. Jesus Christ, he's had Chiesa for like 12 games. Take it easy, relax. And if we all remember Chiesa last year, it was the second half of the season where he just hit hard. So just relax. And again, his role with the Azzurri has changed. He's playing a lot more. Just something Jerry pinpointed earlier in the pot. It's just take it easy. Pump the brakes. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. The players for the Azzurri are all good enough. The guys will get it done. Brooklyn Rob just saying, Alberto, he's going to blame me if they don't win the group. Okay, yeah, sure. I'll
Blame
take
me. I don't give a shit.
I'll take the blame. I have absolutely zero to do with it, but I'll take the blame. It's all good. It's all good. No, don't worry about Chiesa too. And a lot of it's situational too. We talked about it against Switzerland. He's got 3 guys in front of him. I don't expect what we've seen out of Chiesa when he's facing 3 defenders, but what I expect is him to adapt and realize what the actual play is rather than head down, try to beat all 3 of them. So he's got some room to grow and whatnot. Am I worried? Absolutely not. I'm not worried about any of the players on the Azzurri squad. In terms of Juventus, I just hope we make top 4. That's all. Like they just got to get the job done and dig down here. Allegri concerns me. Okay. Allegri concerns me because I don't know if 2 years away from the game changed anything, to be honest. And that's what I'm waiting to see. So I'll just keep having faith and hope that we see some change. 4-4-2 is dead. I hate the 4-4-2. I will say that. And that's it for me.
Hope he plays it on Saturday. Mass? Any parting words?
I think we're gonna be all right tomorrow. Take it a game at a time, but they'll get the job done. We just it's in our hands at this point. We got to do what we got to do. Get into Northern Ireland, pot in a couple, and that's it. Don't worry about the Bulgaria Switzerland game.
Mm-hmm.
For Roma, I mean, at this point, I'm just taking it a game at a time. We all knew it was going to be a project with Mourinho there, and we came off to a flying start, but we're starting to see some cracks in the armor there. So we'll see what happens against Genoa on Sunday. Hopefully, they get me a nice little birthday win. Would be nice. So But we have a pretty bad track record against teams with a new manager, so I'm not holding my breath there. I think was it Shevchenko who's taking over at Genoa now.
Is it?
It's gonna be a first. Yeah, it's his first game. We have a bad track record going up against the team that just fired their coach and hiring a new one. So, so far in terms of health, everything seems to be all right. There's a couple guys just kind of worn out a bit, but that's why they kind of hung back from the Azzurri call-ups. And hopefully we get to see Spinazzola sooner rather than later. He's back at training, doing solo training on the field. They're saying sometime in mid-December before the break. So we'll see what happens.
What's your take on Mourinho being outdated?
I don't think so.
Because I'm starting to hear the same stuff about Allegri at Juve, and that's why I ask your take on Mourinho.
No, but you know the problem. The problem is that the Mourinho being outdated. I think it just it's a lot of salty Premier League fans. I feel like Mourinho is better suited for Serie A than he was for the Prem, to say the least. He's had his most success in Serie A. So you know what? We just got to give it time. I just don't think we have all the personnel that he needs to play the way he wants to play right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have enough, but I think there's just quality missing in certain areas that I think he wants to kind of bolster up. So come the winter mercato, we'll see what happens. The team's been snake bitten too. We've been generating chances, but we just can't pot them. The woodwork's been our biggest rivalry this year. We can't what our strikers, so he seems to be playing really well. Everyone says outdated, but the Roma team looks a lot better than I can say under Fonseca. We're showing a lot more resilience, and as much as people say he can be outdated, the one thing I do think that Mourinho does bring to a team is a lot of other intangibles, like helping create a team identity that Roma had been lacking over the last couple of years. Yeah. So he's kind of rallied the team. You see the players kind of sticking up for themselves now. Their body language on the field is a lot different compared to previous years, and it's his first year. We gotta relax. I know everyone's kind of mentality is, what can you do for me now when it comes to Calcio? But Roma was in such bad shape with Fonseca, and prior to that like the post Champions League run where we had a fire sale and everyone got sold off. Like we've been kind of middling since and really struggling. So everyone's got to be patient. Mourinho said it. It's a project.
Yeah,
we got to take a breath, and that's the problem. Is everyone kind of already like getting ready to take out the pitchforks? But I've been seeing a lot of people kind of rallying around Mourinho, which is nice to see in terms of Roma fans. So we just got to be patient.
Even Totti came out and
Totti and Rossi both said it. They both came out to talk. So it's
and those guys have always been vocal about the deep underlying issues
at the club. Yeah. So. But we just gotta give it time. We're on the right path. Obviously, there's going to be growing pains, and we're slowly starting to see it there with the loss to Venezia and some other teams. So everyone's just gotta take a breather and just hope like it'll work out. We just gotta wait.
Yeah,
patience. We're not a patient bunch, but we gotta be patient.
Well, guys, where can they find you on social media? What do you have in the works? Alberto, you kick it off.
Yeah, we got at All Juvecast, the Twitter account for our team podcast, all focused on Juve all the time. But we got some 2, potentially 3 big announcements coming this week in terms of expansion. We just launched alljuvecast.com, which is a website where you can find essentially everything, all our YouTube stuff, all our podcasts, and even offering all Juventini an opportunity to write articles about the team. So it's an open invite and a new platform that we just launched. That's everything we got going on, and we're all really, really easy to find on Twitter. We got a team of about 11 now for the show, and we've got up to 7 or 8 writers so far. So it's growing quite nicely, and we're having a lot of fun with it, and looking forward to hosting you, Jerry, for the pre-match for Lazio Juve. Come over to the dark side.
I'm nervous, man. I was less nervous before yesterday than Marisic's COVID-19 just ruined everything. But Well, we can talk about that later in the week. I'll just focus
Juve's
on it.
1-0 FC will win 1-0. I'll call that prediction right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if they won like 1-0 controversial call. It always happens between Lazio and Juve. There's always something.
Moji effect, man. I told you before the show, Moji effect.
Something like just like when Ronaldo was awarded that penalty a few years back at the Stadio Olimpico in the last like 2 minutes, and it was like a controversial call, and then I think it was
I don't
the right
know,
call.
man. You guys have been good against us for a few years now, so
That was under Inzaghi though. But I don't want to take anything away from Sarri. He's been the last 4 games have looked really good. So
anyway, Sarri's gonna want to stick it to Juve. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Mass, where can they find you, man?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Mass148. Twitter handles up on the screen. And you can check out the work that I'm doing with the Daily Stakes. We're a sports betting analytics website. We also got a podcast that comes out at 9 a.m. every Thursday as well, breaking down. We only handle North American sports for now, as we're a relatively small team, but we'll eventually expand to Calcio, as it's been something I've been wanting to work on as well. So you guys can check that out. So and we got some other stuff in the pipeline as well. There are a lot of changes coming with that. So you can check us out at the Daily Stakes on Twitter as well, and Instagram and TikTok. And it's pretty much it.
Nice, man. And you can follow Culture Connection at CultureCom Pod. You can follow my co-host Alex Dono at Alex Dono. He does some great stuff on college football, on all sports related, actually, NBA to NFL, Miami Dolphins. The guy had to sleep in this morning. He had a very rough loss last night in college football. His Canes. I was wondering why he tweeted out, "What's everyone drinking tonight?" I just chimed in and said wine, and someone said that's too light. And I was like, "What the heck are you talking about?" He's like, "The Canes lost," and I'm like, "Oh, who gives a shit about college football?" Like, no one cares, man. Like. And you can follow me at jmancini8. And I got a few pieces on Lazio. And funny how Alberto said that articles and everything. I do plan on giving him a piece about Paratici and why it was a great decision to get rid of him.
Nice.
Because he peaked. And I don't care what they did prior to Ronaldo. The back years, the latter years, the final years were disastrous from that guy. And I can't wait. You know what? If Tottenham does well, it's not because of Paratici. It's because of what Conte had to tell him what to do in order to make it successful. That's why he's there. Conte is there.
He's a good scout. He's not a team builder. He's a good scout. That's it.
Yeah, his signings were terrible. I had a guy, a good Juventus fan of mine. This guy is Mike Bonadiman, and he gave me some really good quality notes about how poorly it was handled, Juventus, in the last 3-4 years after signing Ronaldo, and some really bad deals, man. I mean, like, if it as much as you guys want to say Allegri is dinosaur football, when you look at the signings they brought on, and I love how people say, "Oh, free transfer, yeah, free transfer." Well, Rabiot and Ramsey are prime examples of no, you don't want a free transfer for that much money because you still got to pay the wages. You're just not looking at the fact that they didn't have to pay $3 million in transfer fee, which kind of like oversized to the wages. Like
it's the whole trickle down effect, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like you pay these guys close to $8 million a season, and then when Dybala comes time for renewal, you bitch that he wants 10 or 12. It's like, well, you're paying toilets fucking $8, and you're mad that he wants more when he's fucking 5 times the player.
Yeah, exactly,
right.
Man.
Dybala's not the public enemy here. It's our own doing. So, you know, so it's crazy how we scapegoat players all the time on things and whatnot, and it's wild. But I think, you know, I saw this question come out a couple days ago, and it was, what's the biggest mistake Juve's made in the past 10 years? And I saw a lot of tweets about players and this and that, and for me it's Marotta. We should not have went that route. Losing Marotta was big for Juve because he could actually build teams, and the free signings he made were fucking all hits. Almost every single one of his free transfers were hits. So it's crazy that when it started to fall off, it was Paratici who, by the way, circumnavigated his mentor Marotta on the Ronaldo deal. Okay, and that's when his whole existence as the running sporting director was based off fucking backstabbing his mentor. That should have been a big fucking sign right there of the way this team was going and the dissension there, and then just all heads at the top not making sense and not agreeing with one another. Agnelli wanting to keep Allegri, Paratici and Nedved saying no, it's time to switch, go to another coach. They don't have this coach in plan. They settle for Sarri. Sarri comes in. Oh, we don't have time to change coaches. Agnelli doesn't want him anymore. And I'm like, you guys are all lost, and you're supposed to be guiding this team through all this. It was a shit show. But it all started with Marotta when he went away.
Mm-hmm. But, guys, thanks for watching. And I always do it. I always drift off before we think we're going to sign off. And Alex Donald is right. I put in 500 extra words thinking that we're going to end it. This time I will end it. Thanks for joining, Mas, Alberto, Forza
Thanks for having me,
Azzurri.
man.
It's always a good start to the morning talking calcio, boys.
And just
Always a
remember it.
pleasure.
For some reason, somehow, it was Cheeto's fault on Friday for not winning.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Ciao.